Well, I mean, he showed up last year as a rookie, did really well outdoors. He stepped up his game in Supercross. I don't think he's getting tired second motos. I just think AC's figuring shit out. I mean, AC's crushing it. And then obviously the race got cut short, so who knows how the first opening moto would have ended in Colorado. Maybe things could have changed.
Well, I kind of got to agree with you. It just seems like AC is able to come in and just close the deal on the second moto. It just seems like he kind of learns from the first moto, and then he's able to come in and just nail it.
Well, how much more experience does Adam have than Justin? I mean, considerably,
Quite
right?
a bit.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
I mean, what is this? Is this Adam's third or fourth season of nationals of being a pro?
I'm not sure on that. I know he's had quite a few seasons that he's had to miss from injuries, but I mean, he is definitely the more experienced rider in that class.
Yeah. And then they're both pretty intellectual riders. They're both smart kids. They, Justin went to college for a while, graduated high school. Adam speaks so incredibly well when he does interviews. So I think they're both, they're not idiots. And motocross sometimes can breed some idiots. But
so
they're a couple of smart ones.
Adam's got a place in announcing after this is all over with for him?
He's pretty. I enjoyed his interviews. He's when he won Denver, he gave credit to Mosiman and shit. And I like the kid. He's good, and I think that goes back to, let's just jump right into it, that Cooper is still learning to be media savvy. He whines at the end of that second moto and about the cutting the track and I don't really, and it's emotional. He wants to win. He wants to get the red plate. And I might have called him a little bit of bitch on Instagram, or told him to stop being a little bitch. But, it goes back to him. He's young. And I think the team needs to coach him a little bit about things to say. Like, hey, we're going to handle this. Don't let the media get the best of you. And the media got the best of him.
Yes, but how? Oh man, dude, that's such a hard topic in order to prepare such a young individual in order to answer questions.
Well, he's 21 years old. Justin's 21 years old.
I didn't ever answer anything correctly when I was 21. I mean,
well, not you're still a man at that point. You're not like an 18-year-old. I mean, I think there's a big difference between an 18-year-old and a 21-year-old in a sense. But
I mean, you brought up the track cutting thing, and his comments with that were kind of, in my opinion, a little bit over the top. He may kind of overspoke a little bit.
If you don't blame someone else for your loss when you crash, right?
Absolutely.
Had AC somehow won the overall and Justin did not crash, then he might have had something to say. But if you're leading the race, and if you were leading the race when AC didn't cut the track but ran off the track and got back on behind you, went from 0.7 seconds down to 1.6 seconds down. So AC slowed down considerably, lost time, and then Justin made a mistake and crashed. So if you didn't win, it's because you crashed, right?
So in your opinion, AC did everything correct?
I think so. At the time, I was kind of like, wow, if you fuck up and jump off the track, yet you really don't, that's a pretty big mistake. It's almost like when Sexton came off the downhill and ran down the inside of the banners.
Right.
It's more of a safety factor. But if you crash and you lose, 10 seconds, you probably lose 10 seconds when you crash. Yet you can almost make a similar mistake and fly off the track, save it, go around the banners or wherever you're at and only lose a second or something. So I guess what mistake's worse? Crashing, obviously, or jumping off the track and not crashing. I mean, you could have crashed, but Cooper went off the track and he caught his foot in the rut, swerved up the hill and tipped over and fell. I don't know. If you want to win, don't fall.
I mean, in my opinion, it's worse to get off the track and then try to figure out your way to get back on because of the banners and all the advertisement and all that. I mean,
I think I don't know what James called them rim banners maybe or something like that. I never heard him called that, which is good. I mean, it's fine. It's promotion. They're on TV all the time.
Rim.
I'm not trying to be weird about it. Not like a rim job.
Let's text JT and see.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah. So I mean, do you think that he should have to turn around, come back down the hill, and re-enter where he flew off the track?
I do not. I believe that.
I mean, imagine if he jumped off. When he jumped off the track, he went over the banners. So he's gonna have to go all the way back. I mean, where's he gonna re-enter the track at then? I'm not arguing. I'm just saying.
I don't know how to answer this. I do not know how to answer this correctly.
Well, don't need to. You don't don't say it correctly. Just spew it out there. Vomit it. Word vomit. Just throw it. Blech.
I think the AMA sucks, and they should have gaps in the banners in order for guys to get back on, instead of it being all about advertising. And they need to think about these situations that can happen.
Right, and to try and prevent them from being more. Right. I mean,
correct.
But what was that one Supercross where the kid in the last chance qualifier got punted off the track, missed the entire triple,
Absolutely.
went past the triple, and I think he got back in front of the kid that he was in front of. Like, he didn't even slow down. So
wasn't that Osby and
no, it was not. It was a couple last chance 280 guys, because that's always one of the most exciting races of the night. But yeah, it goes back. My point is AMA has been very consistent in the fact that if you run off the track, you get back on the safest point. That was my point. That what does Star Racing want? What did Cooper want? I mean, that's it's not like he knocked someone down, got black flagged out of the blue by John Gallagher or something,
Well, we just need Trey Kennard to be there for our safety official and look at it from a rider's perspective instead of just having.
I don't know. It seems like it's a dead story. But
say.
So how about the forfeit? So, anyways, AC won. Cooper needs to just. My point was Cooper just needed to just don't show him your cards, man. Don't let him see you sweat. While you're up there bitching, AC's in the truck going.
Hey, and how good was AC with the TV interview afterwards? Like, immediately he's apologizing for running off the track, doing his shenanigans, and he's just like, "I'm so sorry. This is how it worked out."
He did everything. He followed the rule book by verbatim.
Right.
He did exactly, and you can see in his GoPro, he's looking to try and where am I getting back on the track? He's like, well, fuck it, I wheelied over it. Then he realized I'm probably too close to him, so he waited. I think he did everything to text.
So who's the pro circuit voice coach for these guys?
It's AC is just a smart kid, I think.
Well, I think maybe the Starlube guys should maybe try to hire.
I just think that somebody should just someone should have told Coop, hey, if someone puts a mic in front of your mouth right now, don't whine about this. This is our problem as a team. We'll handle it. You just go up there and just say, hey, fuck you. I'll win next week.
So you're saying don't talk from your heart.
No, don't talk from your heart, but don't whine. Don't whine.
Fair enough.
He should just be more confident in his ability because he's crushing it. He's a great rider. Won the first 3 opening motos. It's coming down to, we'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about the fact we're 25% through this series right now.
But
who the favorites are.
His comments should have been more like, hey, this is going to be up to the AMA. Let's let them decide.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be comfortable with what their decisions
Whatever
are.
they decide, I did the best I could. I made a mistake. I'll be back next week.
This is the way I see it, but
I'm 6 points down, and then AC, watch the fuck out. I'm gonna knock your ass down next week.
I win all the first motos, but I can't close the deal on the second.
Well, it happens. But yeah, that's what I felt like. So yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
So let's talk about 450. Roxon crushes the first moto again.
35 seconds.
He was
How
gone.
does that happen?
He was gone. He was 9 seconds ahead in the opening lap. 9 seconds. He was gone. And he rides. Oh man, I love watching.
Okay. Let's back this up. Roll your back up.
Okay. What do you want? 9
seconds on the first lap. How, Denny, you've got a lot more racing experience than I do.
Well, you race a lot. I mean, you understand. Same thing with the Woods in our local racing. You watched it.
Let's just go. I don't have the national experience you do. How do you drop 9 seconds in your first lap?
I might be exaggerating a little bit. I thought it was 9 seconds. I thought that's what I read. It was huge. Like he literally had left.
Let's cut it in half. Let's say it's 4.5.
Yeah, still. No, absolutely.
How do you do that?
He's riding as good again and as smooth again as he did when he was on that Suzuki and the Hart and Huntington RCH team, and he was phenomenal. I mean, he just watching him last year when he wasn't 100% and he just coming back from his injury, and watching him ride with Eli, and he was out front of Eli, and anyone who rides a motorcycle can see and appreciate the fact that he makes little or no effort. I mean, he's exuding like no energy. He's just like he's just at the bike on point. Oscar and Honda got that fucking bike obviously tuned in really well.
So are we relating that to equipment then?
No, I mean it's his style. I think we watched him do the same thing on, like I said, on the RCH Suzukis, very effortlessly. But I think again it comes down to you get a bike you're comfortable with and you're able to ride that way. But it's his style. And you see Eli, Eli's not necessarily the smoothest guy. He exudes a lot of energy, but he's bigger and stronger, I think, a little bit, and he's able to do that. But I think Kenny has learned. Well, he was already smooth before he got hurt, but I think he's learned now with the injury how to compensate with his style and let's not overexert myself. 'Cause there's something going on, whether with physically or something. He kept saying that during Supercross, which we really have yet to see. But yeah, 35 seconds, he was on it. And
very on it. But then again, the second moto, it did not take Eli very long to get past Roczen and then continue to put time on him and pull away, which I just, I don't have the words.
Well, you know, for a fact, and I think everybody does it that watches this and in any media, when Eli is on, he is, I mean, whether he's the best in the world at the time, because he's the best in the U.S. easily. When he is on, I mean, we watched him drop that hammer at Pala. Holy fuck. Came from what, 5th, and just said, I'm kind of just going to drop the hammer now, and caught those guys and passed them all in like 3 laps. But then again, he's not always on. He makes some mistakes. That first moto, he ran 10th forever and didn't make any moves. Roczen's gone. He's got the same guy in front of him forever. You know, it starts raining. Marv goes down in the second turn. Barcia puts him on his ass, which is kind of random. But so Marv's down. Marv comes in 40. He was dead ass last, 40th. When Eli pulls off to get his goggles, when Eli reaches up, I don't know if it was mud. He went to wipe his goggle or something, and the roll offs just went flying. You could see it in the air. If you've ever rode roll offs in your career, and they will get sometimes a little crazy. And so when Eli pulled into the pits, he was 10th. Marv was already up to 13th from dead ass last. They get out, they pull Marv, Eli, after that botch, as you said, what goggle exchange, whatever they're trying to do. The next time Kawasaki guys, let's do some goggle prep.
They need to practice what the Star Racing guys do, because
we just watched that. Colt Nichols pulled in the pits like, boom, I'm gone. Eli pulled in. They're like, hey man, are you okay? Can I put this on your head?
Okay, so here's my question to you with the whole goggle fiasco. Is that, Eli's been racing long enough. You've raced long enough that we know not to reach up and touch the damn tear-off film.
And I'm not 100% positive that that's what he did. You suggested maybe he reached up and pulled, the string or whatever he was doing, and it broke. I thought I saw him, reach up and wipe your lens as you would if you have tear-offs or something, or just a clean lens or a dirty lens, and not realizing maybe he forgot he had film, because obviously when he swiped, that film either stuck to the hand with the mud, or he pulled it and it just went.
Well, okay, so let me put it to you this way. What do you think the percentage pie is on who caused the goggle incident? Is it the rider or is it the goggles?
I'm surprised, honestly, that he was even running roll-offs, because I think he's an Oakley athlete, and I worked many years with Smith. Actually with Scott when I was riding. I worked with Bevo and those guys doing roll-offs. We tried the electric roll-offs. We tried the shading roll-offs. We just touched the side of it and it moved across your film and stuff. But then they came to get to these static electric tear-offs, so you can put 7 together. It looks like one. Laminates, and you could put up to 21. So you can put up to 3 packets on your goggles.
Yeah, they come in packs of 7,
and you put 3 on up to 21s, and it looks like you're looking through 3 tear-offs, and you have to peel them off instead of just pop them off. I thought a lot of those guys use those. I don't remember guys using roll-offs, but if it's raining, I guess that's when you want the roll-offs, because you have a concept. Weege and actually Grant spoke of that during the show. When you're driving in your car, off your windshield wipers when it's raining. So maybe that's why you went to the roll-offs. But
what was your preference? Did you ever?
I always roll offs. No, I didn't have laminates when I raced. I did when I went to Loretta's. They did. I wasn't good enough to do the whole peel. You had to peel them off, and I was used to roll offs because I'm old school. So roll offs are something that I always preferred, because it was just easy to grab a string, and if I can see through that much, I don't need the full thing. And I would be one of the idiots who would grab the whole thing and just throw them all off, because I would.
Well, luckily for me, I've had the choice of using laminates and roll-offs, and I'll be honest with you, I prefer roll-offs.
For what reason?
So my reasoning is that if it's going to be a complete slop fest,
right,
and shitty out, then you're able to run the gutter on the top of the goggles, keep the water
from going in underneath the roll-off, right?
Correct.
Yep.
And it's much easier in order to grab the nub in order to speak. To pull,
and I believe there's 45 pulls to a roll off. It's in the 40s. I'm positive of that. 41 to 45 poles to roll off. So imagine the difference, 21 tear off the poles. Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, for the sloppier races, I always choose to run roll-offs, but then for the less sloppier races, I run laminates.
A heavy mud will fuck up your laminate, or not your laminate, but your roll off. A heavy mud will, like, if a big glob of mud hits you in the goggles,
Because it'll pull
the lens or the film down.
Correct.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
and then
good
that's
point.
when the laminates are better. But I mean, dude, how are you gonna? I mean, it's like
What?
playing blackjack. How the hell are you
Oh
gonna?
yeah, it's a roll of the dice, and whatever you're comfortable with, And I don't think I've ever seen Eli wear roll offs, but I think it goes back to again the fact that it was raining, and you want more of a windshield wiper and more poles in the 40s and the 21 lamp because it's obviously when water's worse than mud almost because you can kind of spot yourself through mud,
Right,
the
but
mud
if
in
you
your
get
goggles.
that water behind there,
The film you're fucked because you look like then you're looking like through a fish tank in a sense. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing I don't like about the laminates is that I'll go to grab them, and instead of grabbing the end, I'll grab the whole stack, and I just rip the whole damn thing off.
That's exactly right.
It's just like,
and you like again, a tear off, you just go pop, pop. You pop a laminate, you have to go across, and I just I didn't use them long enough. I only, like I said, I only used them when I went and did Loretta's in 06, 07 when I was at Smith. And they, my buddy Wobbs, who was our guy, and then Fritzy would ask me, well, what's your preference? I'm like, man, I'm too old and stupid to do laminates, to stick to the old school roll off. So, was it the big mistake? So it goes back to Eli was riding almost like a little bit of Elito that first moto. He wasn't on, he didn't really step it up until after he got the goggles on. But then he dropped the hammer again and shot up to fifth. But the first half of the moto until the goggles were fucked up. It's like, well, how do you still? I mean, it's obviously won. We're going back to the series. He's won 4 motos. Roczen's won 2, but he hasn't been off the box. So Eli needs to figure out. But then the second moto, Eli shows back up and smokes the second moto, and Eli and Roczen gets a second.
Well, how do we even explain that? How do we have such an elite athlete such as Eli Tomac that is? I mean, the days that he's on, he is on.
I mean, when you drop the hammer Pala, that's that moto. It's like, how do you go from 5th to 1st in just 3 laps? But like, when do you decide, and when is this mental state? Did you just go, well, holy shit, man, I'm just going to drop the hammer? I mean, I don't know either.
I know that you have your differences with him, and
we have no differences. He's Eli and he's Elito. That's all. I don't dislike the guy.
Well, okay.
But I've said my opinion on him, and we shook hands in Vegas, and
I wish somebody that works with the Eli camp would actually send me a Eli hat because I would wear it.
I wore it. I wore it at the Henniger show. Did you watch that?
No.
Oh yeah. After he smoked Pala, we put up posters of Eli behind us. Mike had for Grayson in the show. JR had actually a number 3 Dale Earnhardt hat on, and halfway through the show, I wore the Dale Earnhardt number 3 Eli hat. Yeah. And then it was really funny. So then I'm getting like comments, because obviously I bust Eli's chops whenever I can. Look at there, he just stands up to the whole corner right there. So people are commenting on my Instagram like, hey, why aren't you giving, you busted Eli's balls, they're in Supercross, you busted AC's balls, they're in Supercross. But why aren't you giving shit to Roczen to the fact that he got smoked and stuff and all this stuff? I'm like, man, are you fucking even paying attention right now? Like, and people are like, well, why do you act that way to Eli? Because Eli is he's an anomaly. When he's on, he's the best. When he's off, he's not. And so it's a story. So it's not the personal. It is one of the most unique situations we've ever seen in our sport. We've never seen guys be able to, have that. If you're running 10th, you ever seen Carmichael just run 10th for a while?
Nope.
You ever seen who else? You ever seen Fro just run 10th? You ever seen MC just run 10th? And Eli's, he's right up there with those type of caliber riders. But when he's running 10th for half the moto, it just seems a little odd. But he won the second moto, came back. He's got more moto wins.
Eli is his own.
I love talking about Eli. He's just a story every week.
I don't even know where to go with the guy.
We
love him to death. He's got such an advantage at trading at the altitude. I don't even think that anybody understands that.
Well, it's funny you say that because they brought it up during the show a little bit, and some of the riders said nothing. And Jason Anderson, I guess, has altitude sickness, so we usually have talked about that every year when he goes to race, but I didn't hear anything about that this year. He usually flies in the day of the race, tries to get out that night of. But I didn't hear anything about that. And then, but I did, during the show, Grant and Weeds talked about it, and I think I read something about Jason Thomas, saying that it does affect the bikes, even with EFI. You know more about EFI than I do know about bikes. Does EFI that much different than a carburetor to keep the bike running better at altitude or what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because it takes into effect the amount of oxygen that the bike's able to bring in. I mean,
does it change it constantly while you're riding? Again, I don't.
No, for what we're
or you can program it. Yeah. Nice. Very subtle.
For what we're allowed for the AMA. So for like the GPs, those guys' bikes are able to update the ECUs every 30 seconds. So like
while they're riding.
From
a computer?
Correct.
Everybody's paying attention. This is So
remember,
I don't know anything about bikes. I raced my entire life. I can't change a tire. I've never changed a tire.
Remember when we went to Motocross the Nations?
Absolutely.
In Denver?
We'll talk about that later. Yes.
Okay. And then Roxon was just crushing it.
We'd never really seen him before until that weekend.
On a Suzuki
120, yeah.
So his bike was able to update itself and reprogram the ECU according to the conditions. There's something.
No. So it's while you're on the track, the bike, it'll change by itself, or someone's on a computer doing it.
Correct.
No, correct. It was a question. Which one?
No. It corrects itself.
Oh, it corrects itself.
Yes.
Because I know that they can map it now. That they can literally see when we're getting rear wheel spin and all that shit. It's like F1 and such. It's insane, and it's the technology will kill most sports due to the cost of things. But so while he's on the track, that bike is changing from what it's learning, what it's doing.
Yeah. So it's got
even back then. I mean, what was that? 2010.
Yes.
Crazy.
So in 2011, I'm trying to remember what it's called, but we welded in a bung into the headers of our exhaust
for arena cross.
Yeah, and I can't even remember how it's called, but it measures the exhaust gases, and then after the bikes would come in, we would get on the computer, look at everything, and then remap everything. And then go back out. And so, like, for Denver, it was invaluable. Like,
that would make the most sense. Yeah. Thomas said in the story, I didn't realize, that he said that you imagine riding a 450 that feels like a 250. And I didn't know if it still was that way. I remember when we went to Denver to race arena cross, obviously, and two strokes, it was huge. I mean, I felt like a fucking sled. Like a mini bike.
The system that we used was a Bazaz system.
You're Bazaz.
I know. And I was always laughing because I was talking to those guys and I'm like, why don't we just have it update itself? And they're like, well, because that's against the AMA rules. And I go, who cares? I go, let the AMA figure it out.
How would they even know?
Right.
I mean, they can't tear.
And that's what their guy was like going, well, we can't do that, Chris. And I'm like, yes, you can. I go, let the AMA figure out how to police it.
Yeah, how are they going to know?
And I'm like, dude, think of how many off-road guys like myself would love to have this system when I go ride in Colorado and I start at 5,000 foot. And then by the end of the day, I'm at 12,000 foot.
Absolutely.
And it keeps remapping itself. I'm like, let the freaking AMA.
And they have that. They have that. They have that technology.
So, well, that was
right
2011.
Man, could you just figure out how to put his fucking goggles on for God's
worst goggle swap ever.
Okay, let's jump. Thank you for the technology. That was awesome.
Right.
No, not at all. That was awesome. But we talked about right before the show that the GPs have a section now that you can pull off the track instead of going to the mechanics area and get off the track and quicker and on the track with your goggles changed.
Why don't we have that?
I don't know. I thought this is pretty brilliant. I don't know why we haven't either. I thought that'd be something we'd do right away. And now look at how fast he gets. So we're watching the TV. It's in front of us. It's just for everybody listening. Eli ran 10th when we talked about him. He stopped to get his goggles. It was kind of a big clusterfuck, trying to get him on and off. It was not very smooth at all. It's like a NASCAR race when you drop 4 fucking lug nuts. But look at the sense of urgency. Do you see, like within 3 corners, his sense of urgency had changed 100%. Did you see it? I mean, I didn't even realize it when I watched it live. Catching that right now was amazing. Like he just literally went, man, that sucked. I gotta go. And you know that feeling. Like I remember one time you and I racing was it Palmyra? No, what's the one down in Kansas? Wamego. Our friends, the who ran it down there? I'm such a brain dead sometimes. CT's real people.
Jeff and I don't remember.
Yeah, great family. God, I can't believe it. So anyway, so
It was Westmoreland, Kansas, or we called it.
and they came down there and made a bitchin' Supercross outdoor track, right? Tons of jumps. We go down and practice and stuff. Sorry, just getting off talk. A little local track talk when Chicago and I raced together, and I would race locals, and whenever we had a weekend off, I go race local. You know, I was racing all the time, and so that goes back to again that it's just
if you like to steal the money from me.
I just just don't sit at home and on your ass, go race and hang out with your buddies. So we went down there one weekend, and I would let everybody go. You know, I'd just sit at the gate for about 10 seconds until everybody got around a couple corners, and I'd take off and chase you guys down. It was the last 250 moto of the day, and I let you guys go, and I went like a lap, and I fell in a rut, just tipped over. And I get up, I'm like, holy shit, I might have bit off more than I could chew right now. And if Cog beats me today, I will never hear the end of this, because we've been roommates forever, and I'm like, holy fuck, it's time. I need to, this is a sense of urgency.
Drop the fucking hammer.
It's time to go, baby. And I remember I caught you on the last lap. There was 2 corners to go, and I had that long section of whoops. And I just upshifted to the fourth, and like, I have to pass him because I'll literally throw my bike at him if I have to. And I passed you on the last lap. In that last section of whoops, and we went back to the truck, and you wouldn't talk to me for like 30 minutes. And and I found somebody else. I'm like, what's wrong with Cog? What's the matter? Because he really wanted to beat you, and he can't believe he let you pass him on the last corner, or like 2 corners to go. So yeah, I'd never forget that. So that's my point. When you figure out a sense of urgency of panic, you ride a whole nother level. I mean, you get outside your comfort zone. You stop like going, oh, I'm going to pick these lines. You're just like,
and that's what Eli had to do when he figured out the whole goggle swap thing, and he's in 5th. I mean, it's like, dude.
Oh, no, he was in 10th. No, he's in 10th when the goggle swap.
10th
when the goggle swap was in 10th. Marvin was in 13th. He'd caught up to him, so he pulled out back in front of Marvin. So Marvin had crashed in the first turn, came from 40th, which I think being from 40th to 13th should take much longer than it did from Eli to run 10th and then change your goggles. Did that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crashing and having to pass 27 people, or is that right? 37 people?
Good job, Marvin.
27, 13 to 40. Yeah, little math problem there. So yeah, so that was my point. When Eli's on, he drops the fucking hammer. Don't fuck up your goggles. Eli came back second moto. It's now only 2 points behind Roxon. Roxon we'll discuss in a minute. Let's now talk about the fact that we're 25% in the series, 3 rounds in. Do we know what's going on? Are we still are these riders still figuring shit out? And there's riders in these top 10 lists that we have here that might possibly still win, who hasn't shown their cards yet.
Okay, in my opinion, the 450 class is still a mismatch. We don't exactly know how things are going to shake down.
What do you mean? You think Marvin's going to all of a sudden start popping off? You think Webb might start popping off some wins?
No.
Anderson, Osborne.
We've got more guys than that. We've got Osborne. We've got Muskin.
Yeah.
We got Anderson, and we got Webb.
Let's cover it real quick. Roxon is in the points lead with 136. He's gone 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2. He's not been finished off the box yet in 6 motos.
Okay, and Roxon is going to continue to do that.
Continue to do that, right? I don't see him changing. So was my point on our group thread that I was talking when I think who's that asked me, do you think Roxon's going to change? Do you think Roxon's going to get off the box? I mean, he might. I don't think. I mean, his starts are on point.
No, I think the guy that we're talking about right now is our 3rd place guy. I think that Tomac is still going to. He's still going to be Eli Tomac.
He still is. You don't change. We've seen over 6 motos, Eli's done exactly what Eli does. He wins and he makes mistakes.
And he makes big mistakes.
He's got a 4 5 as long as his bike doesn't DNF.
Well, it is a Cowie though. I hate to say that.
I did spend a lot of the time on them, but the bikes have I watched it happen at Redbud on TV, and I watched it live at the Motocross Nation 50 feet from me. So
I still do a lot of local races, and I still see Cowie's DNFs.
I don't see a lot. At Winterset, our weekend there, I saw a lot of Hondas. I saw a lot of KTMs. I saw a lot of Huskies. I don't remember seeing a lot of Kawasaki's in that. Is that you go to a lot of more local events and off-road events in the area? Was that a general good crossbreed of what we saw?
It's
or what?
Not a very, in my opinion, here in the Midwest, it's not a very popular motorcycle. So, and I don't know. I understand that the 19 is very good. I like to listen to Chris Kiefer,
right?
In his opinion, and I actually value his opinion on everything, and he's given it very high ratings. But we're not here to talk about dirt bikes.
No, it's funny you brought up Chris Kiefer's name. So I posted on Instagram the other day about that I was going to start racing the nationals, and if you
With
saw,
the track cutting.
and I was going to cut most of the corners off, saying pretending I crashed. And so, no offense to Chris Kiefer, because he's awesome and he's went out there and did the best. But if I was Steve Matthes, I would have suggested that to Chris during this qualifying to maybe run off the track, maybe make up some time to get in those motos. I think I could make up 30 seconds a lap, maybe.
I don't know. How do we want to touch this?
It's not. Just move on. It was just.
Look, Kiefer's a great guy. I really respect his opinion on everything.
He does not have sex, or he does. He believes in having sex before the races. He spoke about that at the Pokemon show in Denver. He's a dirty old man.
I know. I'll be honest with you. He's a hell of a rider. Even though I've never seen him ride. I've seen his results.
Yep.
But he's a great guy. But I'm sorry, Sunshine, Chris Kiefer, at your age, to go back and try to race a national. You're
crazy, man.
No,
it's awesome. It's a huge effort. I mean, holy fuck.
No, I actually celebrate his effort.
But and he obviously rides all the time. Probably rides more than any human being on earth. But yeah, he that was gnarly. And it is, it just shows how it's not even a question of what he accomplished. It's how fast it's another example how fast.
Let's take aside his skill level. Let's just put on the pressure and everything that comes with that. I mean, dude, you know me. You've seen me go to a supercross race and completely choke.
It's mental. It's very mental, for sure.
And it's very tough in order to get through that and past that.
And it just shows you as well how badass. I mean, a professional motocrosser is they're the best, obviously. And we watch the 250 Supercross last chance qualifiers, and we sometimes it's entertaining how crazy it ends up. But those riders in that class are the best in their area. They're not sluggish. I mean, they show up at a local race. They're smoking everybody.
Absolutely.
And it's not a slam on them. It shows how amazingly talented the best are. And just I hadn't seen Cody ride for a while, and we went to the farm last time I'd rode, and I crashed and whatnot. That's after he'd gotten hurt. I think it was after he broke his jaw.
What was that, like 18 years ago?
No, it's just 3 years ago, I think. I don't know what the fuck it was.
3?
But it was just watching him ride. It was like, holy fuck, and Cody runs 22nd. But he ran 22nd in the 40 class at Redbud, which is awesome, which is badass. But the example was just how amazing he was to watch at that local track and how much better he was than everybody else. And then there's these other guys who are just even more incredible. Yeah. It's a crazy sport.
How about our other local guy right now, Brommel?
Brommel, yeah. I didn't. He did great. What did he get? He qualified, right? What he qualified like 23rd or 24th, I think.
Well,
what was his motos in Denver?
He finished 23rd overall, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
I mean,
good for him.
And he's a local guy from Des Moines, Iowa. His dad was a local badass.
Yep, absolutely.
And he completely dominates all of our local races around here, and he's able to go and run in the mid-20s. Hats off to you.
No, absolutely.
You're a freaking stud.
Well done. We'll be out there, taking that chance and hanging yourself out there, and the pain of a 40-minute or 35-minute motor, whatever the fuck these nationals are, 30+2. Yeah, awesome. Hats off. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Good. Thank you for bringing that up, because he's one of the few local guys in our area that is going out there and doing it and doing it well. Obviously, I remember when I was a kid growing up, there was guys like Randy Tizer and Steve Weeks, or David Week, and and Mike Boston that went and did nationals and did the best they could, did pretty well here and there, top 20s maybe. And then Greg Tice, who are one of my local heroes, who taught me a lot growing up. Ride smooth, sometimes you got to go slow to go fast. So he always taught me. And to have people come out of your area and do well, and it's a lot, because a lot of guys now, I hear racing's dying, and that was a big problem in Winterset that they talked about with Wank. Wank's like, dude, just come race. Don't get out, stop practicing. I know it's a long day, but you got to compete, because that's that's why we race. I mean, riding and racing is. I like to race. I don't like to ride. So
I know, I understand that.
So that
unfortunately, our local races are dying, and it's a cost versus your amount of track time that you get, and it just.
Yeah, that's why a lot of older guys go off-roading, right? They want to go.
That's why I like to go off-roading.
Why sit around all day and ride 20 minutes instead? Why go ride for 2 hours and get it done?
I enjoy going and doing a local hair scramble. I pay $50 for my entry fee, and I get 2 hours worth of riding.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I talked to a lot of guys that say the same thing, that have gotten older, like our age, and like, but for me, you know, and you know as well, the camaraderie and the social aspect of riding is fun as well, you know.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
But being on the bike is cool. But I like racing.
I still enjoy actually coming and doing this stupid show with you. So.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know how many times we got to stop talking to each other and keep talking and hang out. How long we know each other now? 30 years?
I met you in 1989.
89.
No, 1987.
87. Yeah, we were still in high school when we
Just
met.
remember, I was making fun of the Dave Miller, the DMC stuff. I had like some stupid logo.
You're making fun of the orange seats and all that, right, or something? Oh, you changed it.
No, it said Dave makes cash.
Yeah.
I had like that some stupid
right.
logo on my Cowies. Yeah.
So 30 years, 30 plus years. Fuck you.
Yeah, I had never liked you either. Son of a bitch.
I'm just happy. Yeah, I gave you your nickname. That's all that matters.
I never was able to beat you at a local.
Nope, and that means a lot. Deegan never beat me at a local either. He beat me at a few nationals, but he never beat me at national. I would literally throw my bike at him to knock him down and beat him. Like I will not. And then a few times when I thought he was faster, I just like, well, I'm just gonna stay home this weekend.
So Denny, why aren't we doing riding schools?
Because I don't know. You know,
30 years of experience. I mean, dude, between
riding
you and
schools,
we got 60 years of experience.
Well, I don't know. Let's just, who wants to come to one of our schools? We'll actually we'll serve burgers and beers and just bullshit. I might ride, I might not. It might not even come out of the truck.
Hey, if we had a burgers, beers, and bullshit session, we'd get more people.
I think so. Up. That's kind of what I mean. Yeah, we'll get Nutter out there to cook for us. Yeah, just bullshit and tell stories. That's kind of what the Wank deal was, you know, and with Justin and those guys. It was.
Hey, how fun was the Justin Brayton?
Oh, absolutely great. Absolutely great. Justin Brayton, Tony Wank. Thank you.
It was so good to see you, Chad, Denny.
I am Denny.
No,
Damon. Damon was amazing. Damon was awesome. You know, I've always been a big fan of that guy, obviously, and he's still the same badass as always. And did you get a chance to listen to Cody and Byton stories? The Gilmore Byton story?
Yes.
They came on perfect. They're perfectly buzzed enough that and Cody doesn't really say enough. He's pretty kind of quiet when he's on air. God, it was awesome. What a great story. Let's just carry a bike up 2 flights of stairs and burn it off in my friend's living room.
I'm not touching that one with a tempo.
Yeah, well, it's like when you fucked up my garage that time. Come home, there's rubber all over the back wall of the garage. I'm like, what happened here? We just had some people over.
I did a big burnout.
Yeah.
I was trying to see who could set high mark with rubber on your garage ceiling.
You're like, well, I got it. When we go and practice on Tuesday, I'll have a tire change for you. So stop bitching.
Oh, God.
So,
hey, what?
No, go ahead.
No, talking about practice sessions, and you and I rode.
We're talking about practice?
Did you and I rode together
a lot?
Shit ton.
What's
one of your funnest or fondest memories of you and I riding, like going down to the river, like racing down there after a thunderstorm?
The river and us hanging out is one of my most fondest memories. The river was a place along, obviously, right by Epley Outfield Hill in Omaha, Nebraska, and it never froze. You know, and it was bottomless sand basically, and
it was rough as shit,
gnarly, crazy. And we would fill the streets. It was just a random spot. Back then you could ride. Obviously today they fenced it off and you can't ride there. But the land's still there. They haven't built on it because it's just in a floodplain, right, literally next to the river. Like if you flew off that one straightaway, you could have launched into the river. I mean, you would fall down there and you'd pick yourself up with cockleburrs all over your gloves and in your shit. But when it was wet, and I mean, we rode there all winter. As long as it was above 30 degrees, we'd be down there riding.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was awesome. I mean, that alone was just epic. I mean, every day there was never a bad moment down there. I remember there being times when you couldn't even change because the mosquitoes were so bad.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. People ask me like, why don't you ride today? I don't like riding. I like going as fast as I possibly could. I mean, that's how I trained. You know, I would go down the river, you know, I bust. When you're in that flow, go back to Eli when he's on it. And I could not turn the throttle hard enough. And I'm like, I want to go through this section now. And it's sandy, like you said, it's rough as fuck. Hop swap. And I just want to turn the throttle harder. I want to go through the section faster. Like I want to push this limit until it maybe kills me, but I want to see how fast I can go. And when you're on it and feeling like that zone with the sand, it's wet, and you're just like, you know that feeling. It's amazing.
Well, let me ask you.
It's better than sex.
What was the first year that you started riding down there?
Can't be sure of that. I don't even know how we found that place. I think that used to be, someone said like they rode quads down there or something. They had a bunch of tires and shit, so we kind of helped clean it up.
I know for myself, I started riding down there in '86.
I don't think I ever rode a mini there. So, well, I was on a mini in
You
86.
were on big bikes in '86.
I was on mini, I think, on 86 as well. I think my last year at World Mini, I was on a mini in 86.
How many bikes do you think we destroyed riding down there?
Well, I
Just
don't know
the
you. I
same.
mean, you were my roommate or friends, and you were my mechanic. So you helped a lot. You worked on a lot of my bikes. I mean, what riding down there would it do to a bike?
with sand.
I
It
mean,
destroys everything.
everything,
Brake
right?
pads, chain sprocket. I mean,
It's
dude,
funny.
we just destroyed everything. And I mean, literally, you and I would ride down there 3-4 days a week.
Oh, at least. Yeah. I mean, that's where we rode. It would dry, wet, rain, snow. We were down there. It was I mean, that was our, and so that's why I felt so comfortable when I went to Daytona in 88 and 89. It's like, dude, this is exactly like the river.
Yeah.
And I led in 88 at Daytona until I wadded and my roll-offs pulled the knee line, went flying when I crashed. And then 89, I think I got like a third. And then in 90, I won like by 30 seconds. Like I just felt that comfortable from riding at the river. And I remember when you're going to South Dakota, I just did moto after moto after moto at the river. And by the time I got to South Dakota, I was tired. But that's like, what's your deal? I'm like, I think I overtrained if that's possible. First time in my life. I swear I didn't party. I'm actually overtrained, I think.
And then what year did the Crusty Demons of Dirt video come out? 95, 96?
I think we started filming some of that stuff. Like when I talked about I held the penthouse and said something about sex or something. That was like 90. It took like a couple years to come out for them, for Dana and those guys and John Freeman to get that out. So probably 90. No, I thought I was still racing nationals.
After that came out, that all of a sudden you and I were like looking at jumping the road in the dike into the sand track.
Right.
That was like a 120-foot gap. And all of a sudden, Denny's like, I got this. Watch this.
Yeah.
And you're just like fourth gear, just and just knocked it out. Jumped the whole road, the whole thing.
It was just, we started just finding place. Remember when across the street they built that big they're going to put a building there. So they built up these huge like 100-foot mountain of just sand and flatted it, and we just made a huge track out of that place. I mean, that's the whole we're talking. Basically, the point is ride a dirt bike is life. It is. You grow up doing it, you do it every single fucking day. You love it, and it's a part of your life, and you spend it with your friends and family, as we are, and the experience you have with those are never-ending. Stories will go on forever, and the best memories ever.
Dude, we had so much.
And the fact I don't ride today doesn't mean I don't love the sport. I laugh to say fuck dirt bikes, and they're stupid. It's a joke, but
I respect your opinion on not to ride.
Yeah, well, I just don't. I crashed and got hurt, and I'm like, hey, I don't want to. Just I respect the dirt bike. Let's be honest.
I completely make fun of you behind your back, but
I make fun of you for riding off road.
You should.
Barkbuster fag.
No worries.
No worries. So anybody's Barkbusters. Yeah, never mind.
All right, what else we got?
So we covered the 450 class. You still think the series is down to Roczen and Tomac, 100%. No one else is going to win this title.
How would you even argue that?
Okay.
Like I said, we're talking about third place.
Oh, that's what you meant. We're talking about who's going to get third.
Correct.
That's the true battle. Well, the true battle between Roczen and Tomac for 1, 2, and then the rest of the battle is for the bottom podium spot.
Absolutely. I think that Rox can pull this off.
I think so too. What's going to change? 6 motos. Do you think anything's going to change in the next?
Yeah, I think that Tomac's gonna.
I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do.
He's gonna do what he's. Yeah.
The biggest thing is Roczen is got to start down to a T. You don't if Tomac starts 10th and Roczen starts first. It happened at Pala, but I don't think it's going to happen every single time. I think Roczen wins this thing. I hope he wins this thing. I mean, I'm not rooting against Eli. I'm rooting for Ken because this would be the best story ever. What he's accomplished.
Look, I'm not 100% going to jump on board with Roxon's going to win it because I think
you fucking pussy. Drop the hammer. Who you got?
No. Well, fuck you. I'll just take Tomac then.
Oh, okay, good. What do you want to bet?
$50.
$50. Why cash? Why can't I just I might be like ride an off-road race or something. I'll probably.
Oh,
no, $50. Obviously, 50. We're going back to $50.
Let's do that. Let's settle this on a hair scramble race then.
Oh, God. Well, you'll beat me then now. I know how pissed you were when I beat you at the West Fair that weekend.
Oh yeah, I was pissed.
You were told. I didn't hear about it from you. I heard about it from other people. They're like, man, he is really pissed off that you beat him there. I'm like, what?
And you fucking hole shot me on a 252 stroke, and I had a 350.
That opened that first time I went to West Fair. I showed up pretty much hammered. That's back before we did my 30-day cleanup shit. But yeah.
You know who beat us all was Carl Hansen.
He ripped. On that
Yeah.
Cowie, right? Yeah, he beat me to second moto. That was the second time. Oh no, that was the first time, right? Yeah, we battled. That was when Cody's race lasted till 1-3 in the morning. Oh, you didn't race that night.
No, I raced the first motos.
Yeah,
And
and
then
then
I'm like, fuck this.
then you
It's
drank them
already
beers,
10
like, oh,
o'clock.
have
I'm
fun,
I'm gonna
dick.
drink beer.
the best part is Cody's race ran till 1-3 in the morning, and right before my moto, I'm watching with I think Scott Newell.
Mm-hmm.
No, not Scott Newell. What's his buddy?
Grant Watts.
Grant Watts. Grant Watts is watching his son race the 60 class. And he's like, I think kid's in second. He's like, I don't know how he's racing right now. He's usually abed by 9. And he's racing at 12:30 at night. He's like, I just hope he doesn't fall asleep out there. So my point is, don't race till 1-3 in the morning.
Carl's the guy that beat us all that night.
Yeah.
So in '92 at Dallas, Carl is the guy that beat me out
Of the last chance qualifier.
on the last chance qualifier.
I remember that when you went
He
down.
got
You went down with Matt,
second,
right?
and I got third.
Yeah.
So Carl made it into the night show, and I missed it by 1.
I remember that. That's when he flat landed the finish line double in practice, right?
I was so scared.
Brad!
And Guy Cooper was making fun of me.
Yeah, I was
Who's
standing.
that fucking squirrel.
I was standing right there in the with I think with Salter on the track when he just launched. I'm like, oh god, this is not going to end well.
I had zero experience on Supercross.
Zero. So let's jump into the 2D class. AC Cooper 1-2, 139 for AC, 133 for Cooper.
When does Fernandez come out?
Fernandez? I'm Fernandez.
No. It's
Ferrandis, not Fernandez.
No. I know.
Oh.
I know how to pronounce his name, but I call him Fernandez.
Fernandez. Why?
Because it pisses off a certain friend of mine that doesn't appreciate that.
All right. No, I think the series is down to 3 riders. I have Ferrandis still in it. He's still I think if he gets to get some better starts and get up there and I'm a big fan of Volman, who's where he's working with. Volman will keep just beating him up until he figures it out. And I think once they get back east, things will change a little bit.
Think if Volman worked with AC.
Oh, Nick Way works with AC. I think Nick Way does a great job with him. I think Nick is
Okay, I
technique.
Didn't
no difference.
shoot
No,
Nick
that
Way
was not
back
slaps
now.
to Nick Way, not at all. But David is different. You know, David has obviously had a different type of career.
All I meant by that is that
Sure.
I like David's way, his approach on things.
Sure. It's not wasn't slam on Nick, but if AC took a different approach. Yeah. So let's say that.
Fair enough.
yeah.
Fair enough.
And I think, but I think Ferrandis still has the ability and capability to get into the series. He's 26 points down in Coop and 33 down on AC. So, those are the only 3 guys. I don't think Sexton. I don't think Colt. You know, Colt's riding decent. Colt's fight Moseman. I'm really happy with him. He's been killing it. Well, at least he did that last race. Hampshire gets good starts. Or he got a DNF.
What's the story on Moseman?
I did not know. I actually called him the wrong name. I think last time we talked about him, not you, but me and someone else. I'm like, they're like, no, his name's not. It's is it Matt? Matt Moseman?
Is that Michael?
I don't know. I think I was calling him Matt. Maybe it is Michael. I don't know. I should know these kids a little bit better.
So I think the worst is that I think that Pat Thrall was his mechanic.
Is Pat his mechanic right now?
No. Pat works for Big Tom now.
Oh yeah.
But I remember Pat telling me that, oh shit, look who came in.
Oh man, Cody Gilmore and Martin,
The
the Martin
Cody
Stripper
Gilmore.
Sperry just walked in the door.
Stripper love.
Stripper, oh god, he's got the shirt on and everything. Holy cow! Guest appearances right now. I didn't know he was coming into. You told me you're going to Sioux City for the bike rally, and if it didn't rain, I sent you. You were going to call me and let me know.
I know, but I had to go pick up Martin in Kansas City last night.
Why did you have to go pick up Martin last night?
Come on over here, Cody.
His truck blew up, and then we had work.
So we have a special guest right now. One of my best friends, and I think the world of. Love him to death.
There.
He was supposed to go to a bike rally this weekend in Sioux City, and he said, "Man, if it doesn't rain, I'm there." So I didn't even call him today. You know, I originally asked him first. So, Cog, you were second fiddle. Cody fucking
That's
Gilmore.
all right, that's all right.
How are you,
How's
my
it going,
friend?
everybody?
How are you?
What's up?
Good to
What's up?
see you. Thanks for stopping over. Yeah, we were talking on Instagram, and one of your funny pictures you posted about Martin. It wasn't even Martin, or no, it was about Kevin. And so I hit you up, and you're like, "Man, when time's the show start? What are you doing later?" I'm like, "What do you mean? You're in town? Get your ass over here." So here you are.
Yeah, we're here. We went to pick up Martin in Kansas City, and he had to come help me today. So we've been in Lincoln all day.
Did you do a school today? What were you doing in Lincoln?
No, we're working on a dump truck.
Working on a dump truck.
A dump truck. Yeah, a dump truck.
You have your CDL license, right?
I do.
And that's a great. You know, Bradshaw when he quit racing bought a dump truck And
Yeah.
I think he did that for like, I don't know how much longer, but there's people need shit moved.
Well, yeah. Well, we got one.
Nice.
And we put Martin to work on one today. So everything works but the brakes. So,
Well, I mean, it's a dump truck. You just eventually something will stop you.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you ever watch Die Hard?
No, I haven't.
Just move shit out of the way, man.
Never watched that.
Really?
Me and you in these movies.
You've
You
never
always
seen the
get-
movie Die Hard?
No, I never watched it.
You've never? Do you know who Bruce Willis is?
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, he's bold.
Yeah, of course you know he
Of
is.
course I know him.
You see my new haircut?
That looks good.
I didn't join the Marines. It just got really hot, and I had a Britney Spears meltdown.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Well, I used to shave my head all the time, but yeah.
I
So
mean,
what is going
Brittany
down,
can
man?
hang with
You have a
that.
school coming up, right?
Yeah, we
Announce
scheduled
it.
one in North Dakota, Jamestown, North Dakota. We're gonna do one July 11th and 12th, I think it is. Then the race is the 13th and 14th. So heading up to North Dakota. I have an awesome turnout up there every time. Used to go up to Gunner Hickey's house in South Dakota.
And your sponsor was from up there as well.
Yeah, and would get tons of guys, and they always ask me to come up there. And I think we're going to be also doing a class in Western Nebraska coming up towards the end of the
Nobody wants to go to
towards
Western
the end of the
Nebraska.
month. We've had some requests on that, and then I had Mickey Diamond hit me up this
For
week
Sturgis?
and for Sturgis. So we've been playing a little bit of phone tag, but we want to do something also. So I think we're going to make something happen
Awesome.
for possibly right before Millville, or maybe during the rally out there. Not quite sure. I have to talk to them.
Are you going to come to Millville? Are you rolling with us in Millville this year or what?
The plan is to do Millville for sure. Another announcement.
Uh-oh.
I'm doing the
You're not getting married again, are you?
not get married now, unless I have too many beers tonight.
You might be. We'll never. It's
We end
early
up in
still.
Vegas, I'm gonna get married.
You were in Vegas Saturday night in Vegas. It was Sunday night in Vegas. You were getting married.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
totally against marriage, by the way. But in Vegas, it did sound fun.
He did. It's like, why aren't you for this, Denny?
So I'm
Chad's
gonna
like,
do-
I'll pay for the wedding, but you're paying for the divorce.
I wasn't gonna.
You'll never meet her,
actually-
probably.
Yeah.
Never, because she came back down from the room. She sat down to Cody at dinner, and he looked at her and went, "Oh, now I know why I hate you."
Yeah. I'll just leave my lips shut right now.
She didn't listen.
Yeah, maybe.
So what?
Never know.
We told the story about you and Biden a little bit. We brought that up
Let me
again.
talk what I was about to get to.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Get to something. We're gonna do the Dungey ride again, the bicycle ride. So
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. It's
How long is that?
60
You've done that before,
miles.
right?
Yeah, we did it. Me and Danny G did it.
It's a great thing that Dungey does.
2015.
Great thing
Yeah,
Ryan
for
does.
St. Jude, which is awesome.
And you know Ryan for a long time.
Yeah, he's been a lifelong friend. He used to come stay at the house, and we'd ride together a lot. And, yeah, Dungey's awesome, and I've had cancer before, so I definitely like to give back as much as possible. And Dungey's ride is awesome, man. He's raised millions, for St. Jude now.
Is that on Sunday?
Pretty
Is
sure-
that
I'm
Sunday
pretty
after the
sure it's
national?
like $2 million. It's Sunday after Millville.
I bet you I
and,
can get you. I bet you we could get you enough trouble. You might not make it.
That was a thing, but I'm like, if I actually give myself something to train for,
If you
like,
get you
the
set
next
yourself
2
a goal,
months,
exactly.
I won't be at the bar all day, like during the week. So it's I've actually rode a bicycle for maybe 6 or 7 times now.
A road bike?
Slowly working my way up. I have a mountain bike. I've been mountain biking.
Oh, yeah.
I've also
You
been
talked about the
road
other day. Yeah.
biking.
Yep.
But yeah, doing that. I think last time in 2015, I raced 2,500 on my own for that.
That's awesome.
Which was cool.
Well
And,
done. Yeah, hell yeah.
Thanks to everyone. Everyone
Good
did
job.
that.
That's
And,
awesome.
hopefully we can beat that. And they also have little teams for that where, you can have like a team where you still raise money individually.
Yep.
And, but they're also have for like teams. So like St. Jude will maybe have a team and like all of their people who work for them will, or say Red Bull.
Will you be able to have how people can donate on your like
Yeah,
Instagram and Facebook and stuff?
So I'll get a link. I
Yep.
actually haven't even signed up for the event yet, but
Well,
I haven't
you're
announced
committed
it.
now.
I've
You're fucked.
announced it, and
It's done. It's out
Well,
there now.
I asked Danny G. I asked my buddy Brandon Kruger. Tony Lease is going to ride it with us. That's
Tony's
it.
gonna do what now?
He's going to ride the bicycle.
Yeah, you might want to give him like a 3-wheeler or something, like a big wheel. Maybe a wagon. You can put him on a wagon behind you.
Hey, he's a good bicycle rider.
Well, he's
We'll see. We'll see if he
he's
can
very
do it.
intense. So he's
Hey,
Last time I saw him, he's punching himself in the face.
I'm gonna pledge the first donation for Cody. I'm gonna put up $500.
Holy crap!
Holy
Wow.
cow! Cog,
Dang,
Chris
that is
Hunter
awesome,
banging
dude.
out
Thank
5.
you.
I
Thank
told you, if you ever need money, Cog's the one to do it. If you just, I won't give out his phone number now, but just once he leaves, I'll give it to you.
That is awesome.
Well
Thank
done,
you,
Cog. Yeah.
Awesome.
But that's what friends do. Everybody sticks up and makes shit happen. So that's awesome. Yeah.
So yeah.
So now you're committed now. So
we're gonna do a little team to where if anyone wants to sign up that are buddies of mine that want to come up
and ride. How long is the ride?
or, it'll be Best of Midwest MX. Anyone in our series who wants to do it as a team part. I definitely want to get a few different guys out there and see if we can maybe raise around $5,000 for our team also.
Awesome.
And, but yeah, they also have incentives if you raise, a certain amount of money, you can you can win a MacBook, if you raise so much. So
Awesome.
definitely an awesome cause. So I'm going to do that. That's the day after Millville. I plan on coming up with you guys if you stay long enough. Otherwise, I'll catch a ride home from someone. But that's Sunday after Millville. So.
Well, now you know. So
should be
keep
cool.
keep following Cody on
miles,
Instagram. If you got it.
Better,
60 miles, huh?
Start training a little bit more.
That's a long ways.
It's a long ways. Back in the day, when you're training all the time, it's not bad. But I went 20 miles the other day.
They make that
heart attack.
That,
so I have some work to do.
Mathis has been riding that mountain bike and that
e-bike,
the e-bike, which is if you want to ride your buddies who are bike specialists, it sounds like a pretty good plan.
It looks like fun.
What?
It looks like
Phaser?
It's an intense phaser.
Oh, an intense phaser. Yeah, intense bicycles.
Bought into that company too, actually.
Yeah, he's a big. Yeah, he's big into that.
Yeah, so e-bike. I've heard that's cool. I've been mountain biking down here at Tranquility here in Omaha, and I talked to a few guys about it. They're kind of diehard mountain bike guys,
The local guys aren't into the
they were kind of mad. They're like, no, them things I think they need to be on dirt bike trails. I said, well, I sure as hell don't want to come around on a dirt bike trail and have some guy on a bicycle.
It's not that big of an advantage. I mean, it helps you. It just helps you pedal a little bit.
I think everyone in their ego and Strava, which is like an app of everyone who race each other on this.
Right.
I was looking the other day. You have a brother or what? Paul Hunter?
Paul's a big one.
He is
Yeah.
king of the mountain on a few different things.
Yeah, he's a badass. Yep.
Yeah, which is cool.
But it allows you to still getting your heart rate up. If you're not as good a bicycle as the guys you're working with, but you want to ride with them, I fully agree with it.
Hey, if he's getting active, if it's getting
so my brother kicks ass locally on that stuff. He's got all the KOMs or whatever it is. But he's like, Chris, get the electric assist bike and just come ride with me.
Yeah.
And he goes, you ain't gonna beat me. And I'm like, oh fuck. Game on.
He looks like he's a boss. There's some good bicycle riders around here.
What's your other buddies, downhill guys? Cog? Used to ride mountain bikes. We used to hang out with them back in the day.
I'm totally drawing a blank, Denny.
He road raced. Did the road racing. Friends with Randy Frost and all those guys.
Scott Ackerman.
I don't think that's right. But him too. Well, Scotty Newell too does a lot of mountain biking.
Well, someone in California that's really good on bicycling. That's road racer, and he's always on King of Mountains. I remember out there for a while too. But yeah, who knows? But
you guys need to get a hold of the intense guy and then get us all lined up, and then we can get 3 bikes.
I'd ride it then. I'd definitely.
Bikes are like $9,000.
That's pretty gnarly. Yeah. I mean, obviously.
Intense is like $7,000.
I didn't know that they even made them, and then I'd read something that Mathis had posted in one of his stories, and I'm like, I didn't even know what that meant. But yeah. But people, but the hardcore guys are always dicks and whatever they believe, in anything you do in anything, they're like, those guys are righteous and whatever you're a specialist you feel in. And they're like, well, what the fuck, man? Why are you doing that?
Yeah. If we can't get you on a dirt bike, maybe we can get you on an electric mountain bike.
Man, how about I follow you in the chase car?
Man,
make sure there's a breakdown. I'll be right there.
On a bicycle,
I used to bicycle from my dad's house on a 1980 something. I would bicycle to my dad's house on Ernest and Q, and I'd bicycle to Deegan's house in Bellevue, and I'd pedal down 370, get to his house, and we'd hang out and play fucking Excitebike. Yeah. And then I'd jump back on the bicycle and bicycle back home. And that was my training.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I'd wear no shirt so I get all tan.
Yeah.
I don't wear spandex, man.
Hey, I wore spandex. I wore spandex this morning out on the
Oh man, I remember when my friend DL Wood and Wade Gasperson, who were up there in Denver, when they used to make fun of guys in spandex, and I started seeing on Instagram they got in road biking and mountain biking, and they started busting out spandex. They're like, man, it's just what you got to do.
Yeah, for one, you don't.
It's more comfortable.
Pedaling, you don't have your shorts snagging
chafing.
On everything, which is nice. For the shirts, just having like the spandex shirts, they have pockets in the back of them, so it's really nice.
And
You
it's
put
sweat,
your
it's sweat
phone in
wicking
there.
now, right?
Yeah,
Wick sweat.
It feels pretty good compared to
So
something
you can
else,
put your
you know,
beers in like the back.
You
of
can
your
put your
shirt.
beers
Like
you
when
can put your
Cog, like
phone,
when
you
Cog,
can
so
put
Cog,
whatever
we're in
you-
Winterset and we're by our camper and we see
Oh,
Cog go by with the
God.
practice, and he goes by with the backpack, like with the fanny pack on it, and Dan and Chad are like, why the hell does Dan or Cog have a backpack or fanny pack on when he goes riding? I'm like, well, he probably has his phone in there. He probably has a Swiss Army knife. He's probably got a Sawzall, you know. And it turns out that, you know, Cog has diabetes. My son has diabetes, and he obviously has an automatic pump or something. But I thought it was way cooler to make fun of him for having a cell phone and a Swiss Army knife, because you probably have one on you right now. Do you have a Swiss Army knife in your pocket?
No,
Here it comes.
I've got my diabetes.
Diabetes.
Personal
Oh.
diabetes manager.
Well, that's good.
That
That's
reminds me of Bob Price. You know, like he takes a water on his handlebars during the race. Like, between your front number plate and your handlebar crossbar pad, there's that little area you can like put your gloves or Well, he sticks a water down, and I go, Bob, what the hell are you doing with that water right there?
you gonna drink it?
He's like, well, just in case I get thirsty out there, I'll stop and get a drink.
Oh,
And
man.
that side, look, he's in the middle of his race, and Bob's pulled over, taking a drink of water, and then he gets back out there.
That's unbelievable.
It's Bob Price.
Well, I mean,
Bob Price,
back.
Nebraska legend.
Yeah,
Bob can
well,
do it. Bob can
So,
do
I mean, it
yeah.
just goes back to the crazy shit we used to do back in the day during the National. I remember racing the Axon National in 1991, I think. It was 110 degrees that weekend. It was gnarly. And I remember at locals, sometimes they would have fire extinguishers. They would spray, the guys when they went by, even at silly locals. And so it's so hot that weekend that my dad has a bucket of water that he's like, we're planning like he's going to throw on me in the middle of the moto. Because people were doing crazy, like, this is back before ice buckets and everybody. And so I go up this, I one of my better weekends. I think I got 4th overall or 5th overall that weekend. And I'm coming up the hill. You went around the tower at Axon, Virginia, Sugar Tree, where Bailey's owned it. And you go up the hill, and then you went around a tree and you came back down to Start Straight. And so I went up the hill, and they'd water the track before the moto. And it was shaded where the tree was. So I had to go clear over where my dad was so he could douse me with the water. And I almost fell in the mud. As I almost fall in the mud, he just douses me and it just hits me right in the face.
Oh, did you have a goggle malfunction?
I had to know. I did not need to stop and replace my goggles. But yeah, it did not go well at all. So yeah, so I understand.
Better than a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, the fire extinguisher, they would spray, not actually.
Water.
Water would
Okay,
come out.
okay,
They're not trying to
okay,
put out.
okay,
Yeah,
so-
like water would, because they get directed at you when you
Yeah,
went by.
that would be bad.
I don't know. I used to soak my jerseys in ice water before I race.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the funny story of Fro. Back in we all were our partying days and stuff. And Fro would get up in the morning and run 5 miles a day and crushing it, even though we're having good times and going to these pimp and hoe parties and shit. And he showed up at Troy, Ohio. It's 110 degrees, 90% humidity, and he shows up in all black Smith gear
Yeah.
with his helmet on, no umbrella, black pants, black jersey, like fuck all you guys. And he went 1-1 that day.
That's a mind. That's a mind. That's
Shift,
A mind
what'd I say?
right there.
Smith.
Oh, I meant shift gear, not Smith.
That's,
Yeah.
That's how you get the
That's how you tell people fuck you. That's what I mean. That's the attitude I grew up with, the people I grew up around. Rick Johnson, those type of people. When I referred to Justin Cooper, stop being a bitch, go get shit done. Because the guys that I grew up around got shit done by not talking about it, by just doing it.
Yeah.
'Cause-
There was nowhere to talk about it back then, I think.
Yeah,
And
and
it's
the
not
social
like
media,
there's
and there's not as much media.
Yeah.
Very true. And I said that earlier with Cog that Justin just needs to be more a little media savvy. The team should have sold it. Don't let the media get you into a situation you don't want to talk about. And I think they kind of got him into it, and then he just spoke. But yeah,
Do you think back then you would have a more of a media presence if there was social media back then? What do you think? What's the younger Denny do back then?
I think. I've never.
What
Well,
do you do?
I'll tell you right now that I was never the fastest. it wasn't 90, but I had a very long. I think I had a pretty long career because through Krusty, through my personality, through my interviews, the way I handle myself. I think that people felt that I can get something out of him, even though outside of results, you know. And that I think I sold product by being positive. And I think that my social media was what?
You were a top 10 guy your first year in the 250 Supercross class, the premier Supercross class. You were always a top 10.
My first
guy.
250 Supercross got a 9th. Yeah,
What did I
but
just
I'm still
say?
saying that at then it was just very different. But I don't know. I don't know when I couldn't run top 10 in the national, like I stopped. That's just the way I felt. But I was never the fastest guy, and that was a much smaller portion. You had 4 factory teams back then, and you had very small support, there was no satellite teams. There wasn't 33 fucking guys in the 2D class with factory support. You just went and did your shit. So I was able to. My dad was very good at helping me find stuff, and and Mitch and it was helping me a lot, and FMF was helping me at various different times. FNS Suzuki was helping me.
KYB helped you out. You were
Those
one
guys
of
are
the
great,
guys that developed the twin chamber forks.
With Enzo, those guys, and then with the whole Great Western Bank thing. I think the whole media. I think I would even today. I think you have a very positive media influence. You can get more out of that. Clicks and Instagram and that's social media. I think is a positive way to do it. But it also can fuck you as well. I mean, look how popular Ken is. Kenny handles it really well. Look how great Dean Wilson is at it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dean crushes it with his skits and stuff. I think
he's got Dan Bilzerian behind him. I mean,
yeah. Well, you get nowadays you get a media company to help promote yourself. Look at what Brian's done. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos of Haley racing because I talked to Brian a little bit about going down to Kansas for NASCAR.
Yeah.
He said you should come down and watch a race ARC on Friday night and stuff. And I'm thinking we should all go down there and watch the whole weekend. Ash will get us set up and shit.
Yeah.
But I was watching some of her YouTube videos, and they have a marketing team and a video team around her, videoing her, putting out the videos, and that's positive. And that's huge.
Yeah, they kill it. They kill it on their whole social media. They
Yeah.
all their content. I mean, I think they have.
And it's
one of
funny,
the
it's
biggest
positive,
YouTube followings ever,
huge, and I think that is a huge influence. So to answer your question, I think I'd crush it, and it would just be it'd help my career as well.
For sure. For sure.
Similar to Dean and stuff. Being honest and vocal, I think is huge. And just be able to be yourself. And that's why I always not give shit, but the kids today sometimes are just too robotic. I read, I don't know if anyone read on Racer X, they call it the Redux, I think. And a Redux. And Mathis had interviewed like 7 or 8 guys, and they all gave the same robotic fucking response. What are you going to the weekend? Well, I think I'm going to work on the bike. I don't feel the bike's been good. I'm going to be better with the bike. I believe in the process. I'm like, come on. Why don't you just fucking copy paste that for each fucking one of these guys? Like, hey man, I'm gonna go to the fucking Havasu. I'm gonna have a good fucking weekend because I've been working my ass off, and I'm gonna enjoy myself.
Yeah, the people that have a meltdown on that.
They would freak.
And
well, remember
when
remember when Millsaps had posted himself at Havasu like 5 years ago, and people were freaking out. And I'm like, dude,
he lives there now.
He lives there now, but Mike, sometimes you got to get away. You don't got to be burn yourself to the ground. And there's now another deal on Racer X talking about overtraining. These guys like, well, work hard, burn.
Yeah,
man.
And there is some guys out there doing that.
No, absolutely.
And there's some guys out having fun. There's guys out having, it's just you're never gonna hear it. But it's
the guys who are having a good time are way deep undercover. Way undercover, yeah. Because it's definitely out there. I agree with you.
Definitely out there.
They just can't speak of it. No, yeah, no, I know. No, we know.
The best guys is on social media.
Who?
Being honest, Cody Gilmore.
Oh, he's an idiot.
He raced, dude. He was honest about what he posted on social media. What he was doing.
I don't follow him anymore. He stopped following me for a while when I yelled at him one time.
He started following me.
Actually,
I did. I didn't realize I wasn't following anymore. Like, you'd banned me. I'm like, you'd blocked me. He did. He does. He's like, you give him too much shit. He's just like, I hate all of you.
I follow Cog. I did delete Denny.
He did. And I all of a sudden I'm like, I looked you up. And I'm like, it says follow back. I'm like, wow, he not only stopped following me, he kicked me off following him.
And then we had a heart to heart, and I followed him back.
That's what friends do. We're like brothers. We yell at each other. What did he do?
He was honest about.
Oh man, I show up. I worked on my bike on Thursday. I flew on Thursday, worked on my bike, flew on Thursday, worked on my bike on Friday. I went out and hung with friends. I raced all night long. I went out and raided Saturday, and I jumped in the flame. I'm going to do it fucking again next week. So who wants to be a part of this? No, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it was an honest, legit deal.
Yeah, no.
You don't get that from the other racers these days.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know because I'm not a part of the industry anymore about how sponsors react or how the OEMs respond or how your teams respond to that. I don't know.
I think there's
I mean, Dean's pretty honest about stuff when he goes down to Mexico and hangs out with his chick and stuff.
I've seen like Jason Anderson posting some things that I would probably think that maybe a few of his upper sponsors would be questioning. You know what I mean? And
I think Husky's pretty light though with Bobby Hewitt and stuff. I think
for the most part, I mean, like for me, I think a lot of my sponsors like me being different. I kind of took the reign and ran with it. I got sponsors. I got a lot of sponsors at the bar. Being at the bar, hanging out at the industry with the industry dudes.
Yeah,
you get sponsors.
You show your personality, you become friends with them. Yeah,
and pretty soon you got free product coming.
Yeah.
and a lot of my sponsors like that, and a lot of them I got hired by some of them from that.
Well, you find that niche group, the people
you
who
take it and you run with
Yeah.
it, and there's companies out there that are proud to have that. They like to see different things. I don't think it's the best for a lot of the stuff, and sometimes it can maybe butt you in the ass a little bit here and there. But for the most part, I mean, there's going to be a lot of the guys out there doing what you're doing anyways, and they respect that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
you find the sponsors who appreciate it and feel that they can get something that you will sell their brand because that's and
Sure.
and that they don't feel as though it's a negative aspect, and the ones that do don't.
Yeah.
You just find your niche group of people, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, is Cog ready or what? You want to come back, Cog? Want to do a little bit of talking? Yeah.
Let's talk about the
I don't
nations real
want it to
quick.
completely take
No,
you
I
over
just
here.
want we were going to talk about let's
The
talk about
nations
you come sit
already.
with us. Come sit with us. So I wanted to, a story, an old, I like, once you cover some shit, we go back to old Lakewood stories.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite ones is when I was working with Josh Grant as an agent, and Josh was racing for Joe Gibbs Racing. It was a year that Mike Alessi was on Suzuki, and I had sponsored Mike Alessi and Jeff when I was at Smith before I went and did the agent deal. So I had a personal relationship with them as well. And we had talked to even Mike Alessi about doing some agent stuff, maybe moving him to another team or something, just because I knew those guys, and I worked with Bob Walker, and he appreciated them as well. But that was the year that Mike Alessi had crashed it at Mount Morris and shattered his kneecap. Remember that year? I don't remember what year that would have been. Maybe that might have been 09.
Yeah.
09, I think the year that Josh.
Was he on a KTM that when he maybe won the first few rounds?
No, he was a Suzuki. He was on a Suzuki. Yep.
Yeah, that might have been.
Back to Suzuki. He won the first couple rounds. He was the points leader, and he had rode at Mount Morris practicing that week, and had crashed and shattered his kneecap. Like he went through a rhythm section, ate shit. And then I don't know if he missed Mount Morris that weekend, or he was maybe just riding there. And then he went to Denver attempting to ride. And he had his leg all taped up. Obviously, you can imagine riding with a broken kneecap. And the rhythm section, the big sky jump at Lakewood, back it up to the chicane right before it. Josh, I'm working with Josh. Josh does not like Mike at all. They've had differences growing up. They're both from Southern California area. A lot of animosity between the two of them. So they go to that little chicane area. Mike is Josh is right behind Mike. It might be like first or second lap when everybody's still dive bombing each other. Mike goes outside before out of that left-hander chicane, goes to the right-hand sweeper before the step-up jump. It goes towards the road and everything, the big sweeper. And Josh just cuts the corner and just puts Mike on the ground.
Yeah.
Lays him out. Pretty much ends Mike's season. Mike's already hurt.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
You go down hurt, you're going to end up staying hurt. Now your day's over. So he's holding his leg. It was a shitty deal.
The right-hander. And then
The right hand before the big sky tabletop.
And then there's a big sweeper. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So if anyone's, you can picture, I can picture in my head right now. So after the race, I think Josh did pretty well. That he was crushing outdoors that year. So I'm up on the top of Joe Gibbs. We're watching the 250 class, and and Tony comes over. And this is not any jag at Tony Alessi. I have much respect. I have a father who's would do the exact same thing. But Tony comes over and he's motherfucking Josh, like, you motherfucker, you get down here. He's pissed, and he's pissed at me because I'm down in there, and he's fired up. And I'll just remember to forget that. I'm just like, oh man, I felt bad because I'm like, well, just calm down. This is not the place to probably do this, Mike. And he's like, Josh is like up there just chuckling. I'm like, stop! Don't be chuckling. Don't make it situation any worse. Don't make it worse, man. Yeah, exactly. I would do that, but now I'm trying to be the sound of reason here, so don't. So that was one of my memories of that. And my other memory is we're on the thread all the time, you and Martin and a bunch of us. And anytime Barsha's name would come up, Martin was like, fuck Barsha, fuck that guy. Hope he goes down and burn in flames. Yeah. And you're like, yeah, well, yeah, because you're not quite as vocal about it. But Martin, and if I just asked, what happened? Like, why are you guys so angry at Justin? And you sent me that video. Was that Denver? Was that Lakewood?
Yeah, Lakewood. It was
09. 09. Oh, that same year. Goddamn, same year. So funny. So yeah, Cody had fallen in one of the corners. I think it was the right-hander on the front section.
Coming down the hill, kind of like.
Fell down with,
and
Justin must have fell behind. He ran into you or ran into the group. There's like 2 or 3 guys down at the time. And Cody's like, sends a video like, this is why. And Martin's like, yeah, fuck him. And as Justin gets up, he rides past Cody and kicks him in the chest with his boot and knocks him down. But yeah, kicks him in the chest. And that lasted till just like last year. I think you've mellowed out a little bit. Kicked him like in the chest pad as he rode past him.
Movie and all that stuff. We'll pull it up. But
yeah,
I'm standing up. We're kind of
you tell us,
and like a hole, like we all crash. He's behind me. He's stuck behind me, like yelling at me. I'm like, I'm down like in this little goalie thing, you know. I stand
Go the
up.
fuck around me,
I
asshole.
stand up and I go to get my bike, and he comes right between like me and my bike. And on his way by, he lifts his foot up and kicks me in the chest.
It's on video.
It's
Yeah.
on video. I go to AMA, and I'm like,
Oh,
Barsh
calm
is a
down,
bitch.
Cooper.
I'm like, hey, just so you know, Barsh kicked me, and he's an asshole. Blah blah blah. They're like, well, come over after the race. We'll watch the video. And I'm like, yeah, who cares? I got like 26, 20. Who cares? You got, you know, like at the end of the day, I'll just pay him back.
Right. Yeah.
There'll be some day where I have nothing to lose, like getting lapped in the main event. I was, you know, and there was one time he was leading in Seattle one year, and I was getting lapped. I was like, dude, if I wasn't the guy to like be the guy,
You could have been Chad. You could have been Chad Reed.
I was gonna fucking like, I just wanted to.
Oh, you should have said
I want to break check him or do something just to ruin him and be like, you know what? That's payback. Instead of me bitching, that's payback.
Yeah.
You know, but
It all comes back. It all comes back in the wash.
I want it.
We saw it. We hung with Damon in Winterset, and we asked him the same shit without him and Chicken get back at each other doing shit back and forth.
Yeah,
Motocross will always come back one way or another.
it'll get you. It'll get you.
More so in arena cross, you know, when you got 72 main events.
Yeah.
I think I one time knocked down. Actually, I think Todd DeHoop and I used to, like big fan of Todd as well. We knocked each other down a million times in arena cross. I think one of the times I knocked him down, and he got up. I think he got up, and I came around to lap him, and he did the same thing. He's just like, Bert, and that happened like all the time with everybody. Everybody did that to each other. It will come around.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
arena cross.
It's arena cross.
You do not fuck with anybody of the 14 guys that make the main event because they're gonna crush you.
Well, that's what I laughed about.
You'll learn a quick lesson.
That
I
was-
think anyone will learn a
Yeah,
quick
that's when
lesson.
I was joking about. I don't know if we talked about it on the show with you and I, Cog. Was when Mitch used to send his guys out to race with us. These young kids, and arena cross at our time, most of the time the guys were racing were old supercrossers who'd learned their lessons and now are making a living in a different sport.
You mean that when we were doing arena cross, the young guys that were coming up were like Nick Wade.
Yeah, Nick Way would come over and ride with
Now
us.
the coach of AC.
Well, yeah, and a couple other like Nathan Ramsey would come over, and Mitch would encourage them to come ride with us, and Jason Thomas that tells us still the story that I knocked him down like within 3 laps of practice in Orlando one year or something, or Jacksonville. It's like, yeah, this is our world. It's not the biggest world, but it is our little fish tank, our little bull ring. So don't whoever you're little prima donna.
Yeah.
We're a bunch of angry old men.
So JT, that time you knocked him down in Jacksonville, Florida, he
Sweet.
came back to the truck,
Yeah.
and I'm in the trailer, and he's like beyond pissed off, and I'm like going,
No, I don't think he was with you guys. Was he on your team that year?
yes.
Oh,
On Cowie's
I thought he was on a Suzuki.
No.
No.
You're talking about the big fight.
Yeah, there's the same weekend. I maybe
The big
He
fight.
got in a fight with
That was
Bogart.
Jacksonville.
Him and Bogart are literally
He was
fighting on
not
this.
riding
Didn't
for
have
us.
a
Yeah.
chain or something.
He was
Some
literally-
kind of chain.
That went back. That was Fort Worth because Bogart was in Fort
No,
Worth.
no. It all started in
Not Bogart,
Jacksonville, and then it
yeah.
spilled on into
Yeah.
Fort
Fort
Worth.
Worth.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
in Fort Worth racing 60.
And who was he fighting with again?
Bogart and Jason Thomas.
Bogart.
right?
It was Charlie.
Charlie Bogart.
Who we partied with in the
The
Nations.
Nation.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool seeing.
You guys saw
Bogart.
Charlie this year?
Yeah, Charlie was at the
Yeah.
Nations.
He actually hit me up a few times.
He's
in
awesome. Yeah,
Texas.
we ran. That's the greatest thing about the Nations, which we'll switch to as well right now. We're going to try and wrap this up a little.
Is he?
He's good, man. He's very good.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
great.
he
I
just
mean,
have.
it
We
seemed
ran
like
each other
he
and
was
came and
great.
hung out in the truck for our camper and stuff. And yeah, I mean that's the greatest thing about the Nations is Lakewood the Nations. You and I were there. We went together. I think with Henniger who was here earlier and a bunch of our other friends. We of course won then, so it was a much better time. But
That's what was fun. though.
it's the greatest experience. I mean,
Yeah.
Budds Creek the Nations, badass. We didn't camp
I wish I
there.
could have hit that one. I went to Lakewood, but I missed Budds Creek.
Budds Creek we didn't camp. I was working at Smith, and I told Cog and Eric Cole and Todd Ramsey, our friends, and I said, "Hey man, get there, and I got a hotel, I got to rent a car, we'll get your passes, let's fucking hang out." And it was awesome. There were so many people there. It was most incredible.
More people at Redbud or Budds
Well,
Creek?
it's hard to tell because Redbud is such a bigger facility.
Is it?
I mean, Budds Creek is all like you stand on one hill, you can see everything like right there, kind of like Lakewood.
Yeah.
Where Redbud, it's acreage, is a parking and
From the
track.
numbers I heard, Redbud was way more.
It was pretty gnarly. And so, and then Lakewood, we went and did that. And the funniest thing about Lakewood is there was a couple of girls that lived in Colorado from Omaha, and we had called them, "Hey, come hang out and stuff." We figured they'd come see us or something. They had no passes. They had nothing.
I
No,
didn't call anybody.
no, he
I
did
didn't
not.
know any girls.
He did not. There's no.
He-
I did. They're not. It was me.
It's a
No one's in
gift.
trouble. Nothing happened
It's a
here.
gift.
And so I knew them, and they did. The funny fact is they showed up and drove right into the pits, not in the pits, but up to our campsite where we're at. Never paid for anything. We went to Redbud. You saw how gnarly that was getting that place. And Clayball must not have had very good security because they drove right up to a parking spot. Never got a wristband.
That's crazy.
Walked around with us all weekend. Never had anything.
Yeah.
Where Redbud, we were like, dude, they wanted to go to our truck. They wanted to make sure there was, that's it should have been, but it was just like the difference of the
I think
the intensity.
That Redbud was expecting that turnout.
Yeah.
West Creek was probably like, holy crap, we're not.
No, and Lakewood too. It was Lakewood.
Oh,
It was Lakewood,
yeah,
and
yeah,
Lakewood was just.
Lakewood was probably
Must have been
yeah.
So that weekend, Denny has his whores show up.
No,
for the
stop it
weekend.
not. They're
Yeah,
nice. They're very nice.
whatever.
It was.
No,
So
no.
how about
And so
2010?
I have to share my bed with some chick that I don't even know. And I'm like
poor
going,
man.
and I hope to God my wife's not watching this. But I'm like,
She is.
Jesus Christ, I gotta sleep.
That's
with
when you
this
had your
girl.
diabetics. That's why
Oh, I had the worst.
gnarly. I had to get you like.
I should have went to the damn hospital.
You
that
were,
night.
yeah. Now that I realize that with my son having, I didn't, realize how gnarly it was. But yeah, we've been drinking obviously all weekend, and you went into like a little bit of diabetic.
I had too much insulin in me. And
You
I
were
was
sweating, and I've known you obviously enough to know, like, you're like, what do I need to get you a Gatorade, a Snickers bar? What do we need to get you here to get you back? Stop sweating and get back some color in your skin.
Yeah.
Do we need another beer? Do we need to go outside? Let's hang out.
You're
All right,
trying to
stories.
pour beer in us.
Yeah, just hang out, man. Stop being a pussy.
Yeah.
Quitter.
Come on. You can have one more.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so the next race is Hangtown.
Here, let's let Cog come back in on this one. I haven't watched one race yet.
Next round's Hangtown. Next round's Mount Morris.
That's not it.
Ugh.
That's what you meant.
Did I
That's
say
right.
Hangtown?
You said Hangtown.
Is that
High Point, Mount Morris.
Yeah.
Next week, and this coming
Alright.
Saturday, a week from
Who's your
today,
predictions for
round
Mount
4,
Morris?
a very different track. It's hilly. I never did well there.
A lot of left-hand turns.
I don't know. It's funny. I was looking on Coombs' Instagram today, and he took a picture of the start. They're distant up the start. They're planning some rain this weekend. They want to get some moisture in it. And the start goes up to the left, up the hill to the left, sweeping down to the right, down the hill to a tight right-hander, which I remember falling in 1994. It's the year that Wyndham was there. Fell in that corner, went up the hill, went over the tunnel jump, and then cartwheeled down the hill again.
You did?
Yeah, it's a story for another time because I want to talk about when we do the Mount Morris show. But I'm not very good at that track. It rains. Sometimes it rains. It used to be pretty gnarly partying. They shut that down a little bit because it used to be over Memorial Day weekend. I guess the big thing was the Morgantown college kids would just need to go there to hang out and just rage and burn shit. No longer Memorial Day weekend, obviously. One of the better tracks, obviously, the Coombs family, Racetracks, MX Sports own the series. I don't know who you think's going to win.
Roxon.
Muskin does well there.
I'm going to go Roxon.
Have you
AC.
checked the weather?
Dude, we're too far out.
It's 7 days. They know what's going on. Don't you know? You're a meteorologist.
My app doesn't even go 3 days out.
They ain't no
100% chance
Jim
of rain.
Flowers.
Jim Flowers,
If Jim Flowers is there,
he might know.
would know, but
He'll be getting a happy ending right before and after the meteorologist show.
yeah.
Cody, who do you predict?
He hasn't even watched the race yet. Have you watched the National yet? Not one moto.
I'm going to predict. Let's see here. Jason Anderson.
Here, I agree.
No.
Yeah.
And he's got a 2.5, 4.5, 4.5.
Hey, Martin backed him up on it, though.
Martin will follow Cody off a cliff. That's the kind of friend that's how great of friends they are.
Debo, who do you predict?
Eli will win.
And for the 250s,
Ferrandis.
Fernandez.
Yeah, I like
Dylon Fernandez.
We talked earlier that you're a big fan of Dylan, obviously. There's two guys, obviously Cooper and AC have been leading this whole series. My point was, I think Ferrandis is only one of that not top two who can still come up and make shit happen because he has in the past.
Yeah, I heard it's kind of separated a little bit. I was listening to
Yeah, Ferrandis is 26 and 33 points down, but
Well, I hope you're right because if Dylon is able to come in,
Dylon and Fernandez. Dylon Fernandez?
Dylon Fernandez.
Is that your Lido Mac?
I just look. I don't mean to disrespect
No,
to the
don't.
guy,
No,
but-
obviously not. You do not. We're just having fun.
But if Dylon, whatever, if he can come in and shake this thing up,
Oh, he will. I think he
dude,
will.
we're in for one hell
I think
of a
that's
season.
3 battles. I think, yeah. And the fact you're in the same truck, that'll be interesting as well. But, yeah.
Oh, same truck.
Well, Cooper and Fernandez
Oh
are
shit! I didn't even
teammates.
think of that. I
They're
never even
teammates.
thought of that.
And that's what I've always said. If you can't be the fastest on the track, you better be the fastest one in your truck.
And then
That goes back to Cooper and Marvin.
It's Will Hahn's the manager, right?
Will Hahn is like associate manager. I think there's someone else as well.
Let's get him on the show.
We talked to Will at did you watch the Pulp show in Denver? Will was with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
You got his cell phone, don't you?
I don't put phone numbers in my phone.
I'm gonna call him right now.
I don't even have a cell phone.
Will, what are you doing?
Right.
How's your barbecue going?
Is he having a barbecue? Oh, it's a weekend off. They should be.
Well, he should be doing something. But
So I think we're good till next week. We doing a Mount Morris show? You gonna be around next Saturday? What you got going on?
I have no idea.
Yeah, right. You're a father, a husband, and
I'm a slum.
a slumlord. He's already offered $500. Donated $5 to the.
No, I'm gonna stand behind
That's awesome.
that.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna stand behind
Well
that.
done.
I'm gonna donate $500 for Cody for his.
That's awesome. Thank you.
What's the cause again?
For St. Jude.
St. Jude.
St. Jude,
Obviously,
yeah.
yes.
Dungeons.
Yeah, amazing
So-
kids. They yeah.
And honestly, I always donate I donate monthly to St.
You've done a
Jude,
lot job
so-
for when Riley's done his diabetes walks. You've done a phenomenal job as well. Support it. Yeah, you are.
Really?
For being quite the asshole, you're quite a philanthropist.
Well, happy to be a part of
Well,
that.
you're a good person,
So,
brother. So thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for Cody Gilmer for being a guest. Thank you for the Culinary Studios. Thank you for producer Dan for being awesome and always putting up with my shit.
Thank you, Dan.
Love all you guys, and thank you for listening. We apologize to Eli
Hey,
Tomac.
thanks to Martin.
Thank you for Martin. I'm sorry, Martin. Martin's awesome. Martin made some Motocross Nation as well.
And thanks to Tyloo for the hats for Cody
I
and
leave the
Martin.
hats. I don't. They don't do anything for me. So
That's I believe his name's Joe Murphy.
I like Joe, but I don't do anything from him. I'm Maxima, Ron Lachine, all the way Dogger. So thank you guys for listening. We want to apologize for Eli Tomac for not getting him on tonight. Well, he's back in the green room. We'll get you on next week, Eli. Talk to you, brother. Thank you for listening. We're out.
I do have his cell phone number. If you want to text him.
Yeah. Well, we shake hands. We're friends.
All right.
We're out. Thanks,
Good
guys.
show. Cody.
Shook hands. We're friends.
Oh, that was for me?